All right, so we're going to jump into today's training. We're going to talk about the 7 things that's keeping you from making more sales on Etsy. And so we're going to cover these 7 things. These things, again, are what I find to be kind of one of the biggest struggles when I have done the Etsy shop reviews and looked at other people's shops. And I just see a consistency of things that if you can fix these things, and first of all, identify these things and then fix these things can help you obviously increase your sales. And so you might find yourself in one of these groups. The overall point of this is just to identify these things, but help us move from maybe not having the best strategy, right, and moving on to strategies we know to do well. So 7 things keeping you from making more sales on Etsy. Printify is my #1 place to sell all of my print-on-demand products. They make it really easy for you to focus on high quality products that you can sell right now, but allow you to focus on selling well, where they would take care of all the printing and shipping for you, where the only thing you need to focus on is selling high quality products. So the goal here is to definitely see what is selling well on Etsy. As you can see here, we can see shirt is selling extremely well here, being searched up on Etsy all the time, just for mom shirt here. But if you can go into this a little bit further, you can see that there are so many micro niches you can target and actually sell well here. And some of these, the competition is extremely low. Like this one here, where it says T-ball mom here, this is being searched up 700 times every single month, and the competition is extremely low, with there just being 10,000 results. I can go in a little bit further and see this autism shirt. I can go a little bit further and see this. I can go a little bit further and see this lacrosse mom shirt is being searched up over 800 times. And look at the competition here, 4.2 thousand people. That is so low, but the demand is so high. And so there are tons of products you can do, just not the shirts that we're talking about, but you can do this for sweatshirts, coffee mugs, hats, tumblers, just to name a few. And Printify makes it easy for you to know which ones are selling well, because they tell you just by the best sellers badge here. So that means these products are selling all the time for sellers, and this is exactly what you want to sell as well. Now, if you want to get started with Printify on your own to get access to all of these products here, over 1,200 products you can create and sell, I make sure to leave all the details down in my description box below. You can get started absolutely for free at $0, or jump on the Printify premium version where you can get a discount on all products sold. Again, I make sure to leave all the details down in my description box below so you can get started yourself and start selling on Etsy. So let's go ahead and jump in for the first one. Too many product categories. So let's break this down. What do I mean by too many product categories? I'm not talking about having t-shirts and having t-shirts in different niches. You might have a shop that's selling towels, then coffee mugs, then candles. Let's talk about why that's a problem. First of all, offering too many categories can spread your energy in research, right? You want to have hyper focused niche category product research. And when you have so many product categories, you're doing research in so many different areas, you're not going to have enough time and go deep in your research to understand why did this product sell? What is trending in this category? So I'm a fan of offering 1 at the maximum 2 products in your category. And the reason for that is that you want to be a student of that category and learn exactly what is selling well and build your building blocks on things you know your customer wants. For instance, if you're going to sell candles, then the strategy is look at the top 10 shops in your product category and learn from them, see what's selling well, how they're doing their mockup photos, what's their pricing strategy, what are they selling and when are they selling, what is their pricing point, what is their launching strategy. But if you're doing product research for all different categories, you're not going to be able to track these 10, 15 shops over a length of time to see what have they done, how can I mimic them, how can I implement their core strategy and launch my products myself. So again, focusing on one category is really mastering that market, right? You're able to identify those gaps, so you're able to fill those gaps and bring more value to the marketplace. Can't do that when you're selling too many products, right? And obviously, it's just easier to build repeated buyers in product bundles, right? If you're selling to one specific audience, one specific category, you're able to build multiple products off that. And here's the thing, right? When somebody buys one product, they're looking for another one, right? They're looking for more products they can purchase from you. All right. Number 2, lack of product research. What I mean by lack of product research is that if you are designing before you're doing data research, you're designing in the dark, and we don't want to design in the dark. Everything we design needs to be backed with data, right? So research shows you what customers are already buying. We don't necessarily want to create what we'll buy personally ourselves because, again, we're trying to sell to the major market on Etsy. So if you're thinking about what I would like, and then you create that, and then that is your mode of releasing products, then you're going to be missing out on what people are purchasing right now, right? Data research help us identify what people are buying and how can I strategically put similar or even higher value products in the space where people are already buying those items. That's the best way for you to gain sales. So without it, right, you risk creating products nobody want. All right, let's talk about the next one here. Optimizing mock-up photos. Do not downplay the power of photos, right? We can spend so much time doing product research and understanding what sells well and designing well. You might have an amazing design, but if you're not optimizing your mock-up photos, you're missing out on probably the most important thing to earn that click is your photo. And we're going to talk about what that means in a little bit here, because it's just not about posting your photo. It's about communicating key value points in your mock-up images. First of all, are you using all 10 mock-up photos? I'll walk you through every single photo and what needs to be on that photo, because majority of people are not putting text on their photos. And again, you have to communicate value points. Text on screen is so important, right? And so again, use all 10, but showcase just not the many different ways of viewing your product, but details. Communicate key value points, communicate key details. Thumbnails must grab attention and highlight key benefits, right? And so have you ever shopped on Etsy or looked and did product research on Etsy, and you found listings that have a little badge, right? Or some type of text. Maybe it says fast shipping or more colors, or maybe 12 free products, right? If they're selling digital products. That's what I mean by having a badge, being able to stop that scroll and have a listing that is clickable, right? And thumbnails are able to grab the attention of the shopper, and you want to highlight a key value point, because again, that is going to be extremely helpful for you when you are trying to earn that click. Talk about the uniqueness. Talk about how to purchase. If you offer something for free, talk about what comes in the listing for free, right? And an easy way to know what to put is go to top shops that's selling similar products and go to their reviews and see what their customers are saying. What are they saying? Great shipping, vibrant colors, great free products, easy to use, printed out perfectly. Excuse me. Those are the things you want to add to showcase, again, what is the value point. And again, the whole point here is that it leads to sales. More clicks leads to more conversions. Obviously, more conversions leads to more sales. So work on those mock-up photos. Number 4, leveraging video. Are you using video in your listing? Do you know that Etsy allows you to add video to your listing? Do you also know that the video will automatically play right on the search screen? Do you know that your listing video will play right when a person hovers over your listing, right there in search? That's one more opportunity for you to catch that shopper's eye and stop that scroll. Etsy tells us that listings that have videos on their listing outperform listings that do not have video. But if shopper A is doing everything shopper B is doing, but shopper B has a video mock-up, Etsy says with their data, if both people are doing the same thing, but this shopper has a video, they're most likely to do better, right, in getting that click and earning that sale than person A, right? Being that they all have the same type of sales and reviews and type of products, video mockups is just that piece to get you over the hump and help you get sales. All right, so let's go ahead and finish up here with our number 5 point here: price and launching strategy. Do you have a price and launching strategy? If you're just launching products without having a strategy, get my camera back on here, that could definitely pose a problem, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about what that means. First of all, are you pricing your products too high, or are you pricing your products too low? Both can reduce sales, right? Because the value of that product is showcasing the price. And if you're pricing too high, and I'm talking about really high, $10, $12 above the average person, that's a little too high. But if you're going for the lowest price here, that also is a poor strategy, because people will associate the price at times with lower value. Again, there is a time where you do want to have a launching strategy where you launch at a low price just to get initial clicks, but you want to increase that price because you obviously want to make profit, right? So having a clear pricing strategy helps you find the sweet spot. That's the overall point. And use daily or timed sales to create a sense of urgency. Having that 24-hour sale is extremely important. Now, that 24-hour sale is going to put a 24-hour timer. And when that shopper see that timer clicking down, that can help them have a sense of urgency and be more prepared to click on your listing in regards to getting that sale. Etsy ads. Etsy ads work. Etsy ads are going to be the fuel for your fire when you have all these things in place, help you get a quicker sale, help you gain quicker momentum, and the listings that can gain quicker clicks and quicker sales, guess what? They move further along in the Etsy algorithm, therefore helping you rank on that first page on Etsy. So having a launching strategy is just not about, oh, how can I gain the most profit? It's also thinking about a long-term play to make sure that you're getting clickable data on Etsy. You know, you're getting that data feedback for yourself when it comes down to your Etsy ads. You know what is working, what's not working, what products are launching well, which ones are not. But then you're also able to position your products in front of the right people who are able to click on your listings and move you further along in the Etsy algorithm, which in my opinion is always important, right? In your impact. And again, I have a whole section on that. Last two here, what are you doing with your keywords? Are you copying keywords or do you have a strategy, right? Are you having strong keywords for your titles and tags, or are you kind of guessing? If you're doing the same guesswork with your designs and also with your titles and tags, that's going to hurt you significantly. But again, inside of the membership community, I have created something called the Smart SEO tool that can take all of the research for you and give you a great starting point with your titles and tags. But the point here that I really want to stress as we close up our trading session here is that you do not want to copy titles and tags. You want to learn what makes a title works, what makes a listing tags work. You want to have a better understanding of the major market, multiple listings in that niche, to learn what keywords they're using, what specific niche phrases that they're using. Knowing your own product category is also helpful because people type in different phrases to research that category. And so there's a lot of things you got to learn here. But the thing here is that you don't want to copy someone's title. That's not going to help you. So titles and tags should clearly match the product. Always ask yourself, what is it and who is it for, right? What is it and who is it for? And here's the thing, the first line of your description, right, needs to be heavy with SEO. But guess what? Also the first line of your title needs to be heavy with SEO. It needs to be specific. You know, think about your title almost like a Christmas tree, right? At the top is that star. That's that pinpoint you want to have the specific person look for. And because that first line of the listing is going to be the most SEO value, and sales are made in the specifics. So the more specific you can be in the beginning of your title, the more sales you're going to make. But then you want to branch down like the Christmas tree and have different type of organization of niche key phrases and category key phrases, and even further down the line be more broader in regards to what you want to target. But the main thing is that all that comes on the back of doing data research, product research, looking at top listings and selling similar items, and asking yourself, how are they using their first line of their listing? What specific niche phrases are they using? And how can I look over just not one, but maybe 5 of the top listings that's selling in my niche, and look and see, well, what niche key phrases are they using? How can I put that niche key phrase in my title? What product category keywords are they using? How many different product categories are they using in their title? And how can I bring several different product categories in my title as well? So avoid copying competitors. Don't copy them, learn from them. And blend product category keywords with niche specific terms. And use the Smart SEO tool to help you do this research. And last but not least, before we get to our live Q&A, is you gotta stay consistent, right? Consistency is what separates those who make sales and those who do not, right? And if you don't know, Etsy is a numbers game, right? On a general basis, not all the time, but on a general basis, the shop that has the most listings and lists consistently are those who make the most sales. So you can do your own data research on this, but you can see shops that have thousands of listings up, and they have launched thousands of listings up over the course of time. They were consistent. Only about 20% of just your shop is going to make sales in general. But if you're able to have a large number of listings, high quality listings, and list those things consistently, then you're just growing the number of listings that are within the 20%. But if you only have 50 listings and you're not gaining sales, first of all, the first listings you list are not going to be your best listings. It's going to be your worst listings. Why? Because you're just learning. So I like to, do work based upon input, not output. Meaning, I don't measure myself solely on, did I make a sale today? I measure myself on my input. Did I list 10 products today? Did I list them the best way I could in regards to all the things I learned from Jay's membership or what have you, or just things I learned just in general? And have I done my job of listing high quality products today? If you can measure yourself on your input, it's going to dramatically touch your output, right? What you get as a result. But if we're only measuring our success and our value on our output, then it's going to hinder our input. We're not going to be as motivated to be consistent, to keep on learning, to keep researching, to keep designing, to keep consistently listing products well. And if you look at top shops, they have a level of consistency. And if you look at that, right, if they have 1,000 listings, and we know as a general rule, only 20% of those listings sold, that means they have 1,000, 20% is only 200 of those listings are actually carrying their shop. Now they're making thousands of dollars in sales, but 20% of their shop is only making sales. That's 200 listings out of 1,000 that make sales. That means 800 of their listings did not bring them any sales at all, significantly sales, right? Can you imagine that? 800 times they had to list the product and it didn't make a sale, but they're making thousands of dollars a month because they still listed products and they found 200 products that consistently make them sales, that gets them to 5-figure months, 6-figure months, or what have you, or 4-figure months if you're trying to reach that point. So success comes from persistence, not overnight results. And gets, like I said, around 20% of listings drive the majority of sales anyway. More high quality listings increase visibility and learning. Consistency helps you understand trends and build momentum. The more you launch, the better your chances of repeated buyers, and the more you're able to learn what worked and what didn't work. And you are always changing and rearranging and fixing and improving every time you list. So you're getting better and better and better and better the more you list. And if you can attest to that, you bid it in the membership, you launch, you list it, your first sales, your first listings didn't bring any sales, but now you're making sales. You are a testament to that. You can be a great encourager to those who's just jumping on for the first time and not seeing any sales. It has worked for me, it worked for others, and I know it can work for you. I hope this part of our live, coaching call was helpful. Shops specifically, not all of them, but most of them, I would touch on. But the thing is, you can do something about that today, because in my course, I talk about all of this. In the classes, in the membership, I talk about all of this. And so you have all the necessary things at your fingertips to be successful. But you just got to put in the work. You got to put it into action, and you have to delay gratification. Put in the work now. Don't measure yourself by the outcome. Measure yourself by the input. And once you do the input well, by default, as a result of, you'll see a gorgeous outcome that can change, like I said, just not your life, your family's life, be a blessing to those around you, and inspire others to keep going and gain more sales. So with that being said, let's head over into our questions, our live Q&A. Let me take a quick sip of water, quick talking break, and then we'll get to your questions here in a moment.